apparently yesterday, Israel, this might come as a surprise, but Israel has managed to kill more civilians. I know. You thought it couldn't happen. They were not civilians? Well, they were journalists, and journalists are civilians. So anyway, Israel has killed multiple journalists in Gaza, including prominent Al Jazeera reporters. Here we go. Let's watch it.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is defending his country's planned military takeover of Gaza City, even as that plan faces growing international condemnation. Netanyahu spoke by phone with Donald Trump about his intention to expand the war. And according to the Prime Minister's office, he thanked the U.S. president for his, quote, steadfast support of Israel. But the U.S. stands increasingly apart from allies, with more countries voicing their opposition to Israel's new war plan. Australia is the latest country to say it will recognize a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly in September. Still, Netanyahu shows no signs of backing down.
I don't want to prolong the war, I want to end the war. Given Hamas's refusal to lay down its arms, Israel has no choice but to finish the job and complete the defeat of Hamas.
The staff of the network Al Jazeera is mourning the loss of colleagues killed in an Israeli airstrike.
This is what's crazy, is that they actually killed journalists this time. That doesn't happen very often, but it's happening now. All right, buddy. No, the thing is that, like, I think everybody agrees that Hamas is bad, and it's good if Israel or anybody gets rid of them. I mean, even Saudi Arabia hates Hamas. So it's not like Hamas are the good guys, according to anyone other than Hamas and a few, like, weird white girls on Twitter. Other than that, though, you know, it's like there's a level of, like, collateral damage that things like this are happening.
Military says it deliberately targeted journalist Anas al-Sharif, accusing him of leading a Hamas cell. The director of the Al-Shifa hospital says al-Sharif was in a tent marked with a press sign at the time of the attack. In all, 7 people were killed, including at least 3 other Al Jazeera journalists. Before his death, al-Sharif responded to Israel's accusation, saying he was a, quote, journalist with no political affiliations. Al Jazeera is calling the kill.
No, Al Jazeera is obviously a political leaning, like they definitely have more of, I would say, an anti-Israel like stance on things. Same as like Fox News is more pro-Republican. CNN is closer to the middle, but you know, MSNBC is like more Democrat. Like, I mean, yeah, they're still pressed. Now, I'm not justifying this, but to say that you don't have a political leaning is not true. The entire idea that the press isn't, oh, we're just reporting the facts. No, you're not. No, you're not.
A desperate attempt to silence voices.
It's in the middle, in between Fox and MSNBC. It doesn't mean that it's in the middle politically, but Fox is more right-wing and MSNBC is more left-wing.
Head of the occupation of Gaza. The Committee to Protect Journalists released a statement
that's all I'm
reading,
saying.
quote, Israel's pattern of labeling journalists as militants without providing credible evidence raises serious questions about its intent and respect for press freedom. Journalists are civilians and must never be targeted. Those responsible for these killings must be held accountable. The CPJ says 186 journalists have been killed in Gaza in the last 22 months. CNN's Nada Bashir is following all of these developments and joins us live now from London. Good to see you, Nada. Can you tell me a little bit more about Anas al-Sharif? From what I understand, he anticipated the possibility that he could be targeted and killed by Israel, right?
Of course.
Absolutely, he has.
I mean,
indeed.
like, if 180 people have been killed that are doing your job, you have to be like, yeah, this might happen to me. I mean, duh.
Raised concerns over the threats and allegations that he had seen mounting by members of the Israeli military and other Israeli government officials who had highlighted and pinpointed Anas al-Sharif as a potential target. And as you mentioned, Ivan, we've been hearing those warnings around his safety and calls for his protection from others as well, including the UN Special Rapporteur for the Freedom of Expression, as well as the Committee to Protect Journalists. And in fact, Al Jazeera, the international media network, had also raised concern around the safety and protection of Anas al-Sharif, as well as his other Al Jazeera colleagues and other journalists on the ground in the Gaza Strip. And we had been hearing those mounting allegations from members of the Israeli military, including the IDF's Arabic spokesperson. This has been described by many as a smear campaign against the Al Jazeera journalist.
I mean, you've got to have like a reason, right?
Just show the reason. Hamas, in their words, quote, a terrorist. But of course, Anas al-Sharif has become a household name for many in the Arabic-speaking world, for many closely following updates on the ground on the situation in Gaza on social media. Anas al-Sharif, over the last 22 months, has been a constant source of information on the ground across the Gaza Strip.
Where's the evidence of this?
At the time of his death, he was, of course, in
Gaza. Like, the thing is that you remember, like, after they did the pager thing, and, like, they were all too happy to discuss exactly and how they did every step of the pager. Like, and it was really smart the way that they did that. Like, it was a very well executed operation. You might think Israel's evil, but there are evil things that are executed very, very cleanly. I think this absolutely was one of them. But like, so where's the methodology for this? Because it's very clear, like, yeah, bro, if you think Israel makes mistakes, you're crazy. I mean, I think that those are some mistakes right there. I mean, these look like a lot of mistakes. So I'm looking at mistakes all around me.
City, he was outside of the previously destroyed Al-Shifa hospital with other journalists, according to the hospital's director, Dr. Mohammed Abu Salmiya, in a tent clearly marked as a press tent. Now, this isn't the first time that we have seen these press tents.
My opinion on this entire topic is that I just want America to get the fuck out of this problem. I think this problem is it's so complex. It's been ongoing forever. I think that there's like definitely like different like good and bad things with each thing. I just want us to get the fuck out of there. Like it's such a there's no like winners in this. There's not going to be any winners. There's not going to be like a good. I don't see there being a good ending coming out of this. I don't even see there being an ending. This is just this ongoing conflict that's going on entirely, and Americans' taxpayer dollars are going to fund it. At the end of the day, I don't want my money going towards bombing Palestinians. I don't. I don't want my money invested in this. There are 50 other problems that are more immediate and more important that I would rather do. And it's not like I don't think Hamas is bad. Hamas is bad. But at the same time, so is homelessness. So is, a food shortage. So is crime. Like there are a million. So it's like 50 other things that are going on. Trump wants a hotel there. That's stupid. Like it's stupid. Like, yeah, America first. That's my viewpoint, right? That's how you get more 9/11, sir. So wait a minute, you get more so the solution to 9/11 is to continue military intervention, just like we have for the last 30 years in the Middle East. Oh my God, maybe if we just spend 5 more years arming different versions of Islamic radical groups, maybe this problem that's been going on for 1,000 years will go away. Oh, wow. Why didn't I think of this? Holy shit. That's what we have to do. We have to replace the Taliban with the Taliban again. Yes, and then everything's going to go away. Holy shit. No, this is exhausting. We have no idea what's going on with Gaza and Hamas and Israel. Why are our taxes getting used to kill without certainty that it's done out of necessity? Israel's rich enough to do this without all of our money. Exactly, yeah. That's the way I think about this, too, is that like, I'm so fatigued from this conflict, and I think that there's a lot of Americans that feel the way that I do. Tell me if you agree with me on this, is that I'm so tired of trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong and who's doing the right thing and who's doing the wrong thing. There's so many different shades of the fog of war that's happening with this that I just want to get the fuck away from it. I want to get out of it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't want to be involved in this. I don't want to have to fucking think about this. Like, it's insane. We got our own problems? Yeah.
in Gaza,
That's how
across
I
the
feel.
Strip, being targeted in Israeli airstrikes. The Israeli military itself has indicated that this was a targeted strike against the Al Jazeera journalist as well as his colleagues. And we previously heard, as I mentioned, from the UN Special Rapporteur for freedom of expression, denouncing those allegations by the Israeli military as unfounded accusations. We've heard from the Committee to Protect Journalists. We also
Can't
heard
they just say how they got the information or what the information is that he's a terrorist? I mean, like, they'd have to have some kind of a reason for it. I mean, again, like they had a million fucking points. Like, as soon as that pager thing happened, they explained everything.
Anas al-Sharif speaking to the Committee to Protect Journalists, saying, "I live with the feeling that I could be bombed and martyred at any moment. This feeling is difficult and painful, but it does not push me back. Rather, it motivates me to continue fulfilling my duty."
Yeah.
Of course, as I mentioned, Anas al-Sharif was a crucial source of information in the Gaza Strip. As we know, international journalists have thus far not been permitted to access Gaza independently. And of course, Palestinian journalists on the ground have been a huge source of information and updates on the ground on the situation.
People in Israel are not humans when they keep supporting this. The problem is that every country is a victim of its own propaganda. And in the same way that a lot of people wanted to glass the Middle East after 9/11, which really shouldn't have happened, and it didn't happen as much as it could have, honestly. Many people are victims of propaganda, and that I'm not saying that justifies it, but you have to keep in mind that, from their perspective, their home is being attacked. Like, I understand why Israelis feel animosity towards, Hamas or Palestine in general. Like, and that's the thing, is that was my whole point of, like, this whole thing is just so fatiguing and tiresome. I, as an American, I don't want to be writing checks to either side. I don't want to be getting involved with this, period. Does that make sense?
Ivan?
And they appear to have been systematically targeted. If you can cite the numbers from the Committee to Protect Journalists, at least 186 Palestinian journalists killed in 22 months of conflict in Gaza, some 90 others imprisoned. Nada Bashir, live from London. Thank you very much for that update. Alon Pinkas is a former Israeli consul general in New York, and he joins us live from Tel Aviv. Good to see you. It's been months since we last spoke. I wanted to get your sense. We're hearing about families of Israeli hostages and the Israeli political opposition calling for a general strike this coming weekend over the Israeli government's expanded war plans in Gaza. Will that make any difference?
Well, that depends on the size, the scale, and the sustainability of such an effort, Ivan. I mean, if it's a strike that's 1 day or 2 days, that's not going to have a big impact. If the strike is accompanied by demonstrations growing in size, from 10,000 to 30,000 to 100,000 and even more, and we've seen those in the past, so it's doable. If we see that on an ongoing basis, then it could change. Now, on top of that, these protesters...
I don't think they're getting any of these hostages back. I mean, again, it's just probably not going to happen. It's a psycho-terrorist group. What do you expect?
And this opposition is backed by or emboldened, is a better word here, by the military's opposition, resistance, and reservations about the plan.
The crazy part is Israel immediately released documents and photos with Sinwar and the journalist, but CNN didn't even mention or show it, even if you think it's fake. It's really bad journalism. I think that, you're right about that. I mean, there's definitely always going to be some of that stuff that happens. Sure.
And if you noticed, or if our viewers have noticed, Mr. Netanyahu is trying to sell a non-existent plan by changing the terminology constantly in the last 48 hours. I mean, from occupation, it became a takeover. Takeover became a temporary military presence. Evacuation became partial evacuation. Occupation of Gaza became military control of central Gaza, etc.
Redefine it.
So there's no real plan, yet the war is going...
Israel has free college and free health care. We shouldn't be giving them billions of dollars to keep them bombing women and kids. I completely agree with you. And even if they didn't have free college and free healthcare, I would still agree with you. Yeah. I totally agree.
Going to continue. That's a given. That's almost an inevitability.
Regardless.
And against that background,
and I don't have anything, like, if you're an Israeli citizen, like, I don't have anything against you. Like, I'm not mad at you. Like, you didn't do anything. This is just your government doing something, right? I've said the same thing about Russia. Like, Russian citizens don't have any fucking, like, they can't make Putin stop the Ukraine war. The same as, like, Palestinians can't stop Hamas, really, individually at least. And fucking Israelis can't stop the Israeli government. Not individually. Then who can? Well, they can collectively, but not individually. What I'm saying is that, like, you shouldn't assign collective guilt to any group of people, even if the majority of that group of people are bad, because each individual is different. That's all I'm saying.
that strike and those demonstrations are going to be held.
You know, as Prime Minister Netanyahu was kind of defending his, as you've argued, evolving plan, I also heard that he was denying reports of starvation and malnutrition in Gaza. And I wanted to ask you, Mr. Pincus, is that a widespread belief in Israel, that these images and firsthand accounts and then the reports that have come from the health ministry in Gaza of at least 217 Palestinians, 100 of which are children, dying of malnutrition, do people in Israel believe that this is happening? Or, as Prime Minister Netanyahu has said, do
you blindly believe Israel's choosing to kill women and children? I don't want to pay for it, whether it's intentional or not. I don't care whether they're right or wrong. I don't want my fucking money going towards it, period. I don't understand how that's hard to understand.
Not think that this is actually taking place in Gaza?
That's a good question, and it's going to take a trained social psychologist, which I am not, to figure out whether or not people actually believe that there's no starvation, no malnutrition, no humanitarian crisis or humanitarian catastrophe, or they're living in denial, meaning that they sort of know that it's happening, but they choose to look the other way, denying that we can ever be, that Israel can ever be a part of that. But I'm seeing rather a dramatic change in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, from complete denial and being indifferent, oblivious, and ignorant about what's going on in Gaza. There's much more reporting on what is going on in Gaza. Now the question is this a policy, a deliberate policy? Is this done with an intention to starve? Or is this just incompetence, ineptitude, and a bad prosecution of the war? And of course, that depends on how you analyze this. But the public understands now what it chose to ignore for the better part of the last 6 months, that there is a humanitarian crisis, there is starvation. And that the prime minister is denying it, that's what he does.
Well, he's not even denying it. He's saying Hamas does it too, which I think is true. I think that Hamas does contribute to the starvation problem, because contributing to the starvation problem creates a need for Hamas. So if Hamas is seen as the ones that are controlling the flow of food, that gives them a power apparatus that they can operate out of. So I think that, of course they're doing that, because it's just logical.
He usually tells you, believe me, not what your eyes are seeing. So
right, of course.
What can I say? I cannot, even if I really try, defend what he's saying here.
And so anyway, according to him, though, the real reason why this is happening is because of social media algorithms. That's right. Benjamin Netanyahu claims social media algorithms are turning the public opinion against Israel. He says they're losing the propaganda war, insisting most of those that hate him are actually bots.
No, I think that we've not been winning it, to put it mildly. I think there are vast forces that are arrayed against us. Among other things, the algorithms of the social network that are driving a lot of everything else, you know, and people who really know, and they're the foremost people in this field in the world, they're telling me that about 60% of the responses on the social media are bots. They can categorically say they're bots.
That's true. That's true with everything. It's true with everything. That doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean that all of the responses that are against you are bots and all of the people that are for you are real people. What a bunch of bullshit. He's saying this for a reason, probably for censorship. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, let's go back. I'll look at this.
Jews and Israelis across the world are now speaking out. What I was trying to say before the baboon interrupted me was that the top Holocaust historian in the country.
You're calling
Here we
Jews
go again.
monkeys and apes? Disgusting. How vile are you? Did
murder
just call a
Muslims
Jew a
for
baboon?
fun. You don't get to talk about racism. You murder Palestinian children for land. You're a disgusting genocidal pig. So you don't get to talk about racism and anti-Semitism. Oh, poor little victim. And by the way, I got 5 seconds in.
I love how we've taken Xbox Live lobbies and we've turned them into geopolitics.
For the baboon interrupted.
Rabbi, allow Cenk to answer. Allow Cenk to answer,
You
please.
call me a baboon? You're just,
Please go,
you're
Cenk.
just an embarrassment.
Soon he'll be throwing feces onto the screen.
You're an
Yeah, usually this used to be in Halo 3. Now it's in the UN.
Okay.
You're just an
Please continue,
embarrassment.
Cenk.
Jews apes?
Please, Rabbi, you'll get your time to respond. You'll get your time to respond, Rabbi.
This is unacceptable. You will not call Jews monkeys and apes. You are a disgusting, vile Jew hater to your core. I've never met anyone
Don't
like
care
you.
what
The fact
you
that you're
think.
put on
You're a
anyone's air is
genocidal
grotesque.
freak.
Jews are apes. Disgusting.
What does the...
Do you see how I just don't want America to be involved in this? Yeah, I don't, no, I don't want to hear, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm out. Get me out of this shit.
What does the Nazi think of my language? Oh, I'm so concerned. What does the murderer of children think of my language? Oh, the problem is my language. The problem isn't that you're murdering Palestinian children.
I got it. Go ahead. You said Jews are apes.
No, they're not.
Keep on going,
I'm just
Cenk.
defending Jews. I was just defending Jews when you interrupted like a
Then you call this
baboon.
Jew an
I'm not
ape?
talking about Jews. I'm talking about you who
Disgusting.
can't shut up
You are
and throw
a
your
rancid
verbal diarrhea
hater.
at us
You are a
24/7.
rancid hater who is so
Yeah.
absolutely
Everybody
walking
hates
Look like a baboon a little bit. He does.
Jews. That's your
ignoramus.
excuse for murdering Muslims.
You don't know
It's a
anything. That's
sick,
what bothers me. What
sick
bothers me is that you
genocidal
don't know
excuse.
history.
Yeah.
Genocide.
That's
Your
okay,
show
but
is
there's no
named
point to this
after people who
conversation.
killed 3 million.
There's no
people.
point to this conversation.
If he keeps going, he's going to just become more. His face can get redder.
Your show is
The
called
idiot won't
Young
shut
Turks
up.
Who killed 3
This is
million
this is the only thing Israelis
You can't
have.
Stop.
Just talking
You
over
can't
people.
stop the
Oh my
ad
God.
Because they're
hominem.
such
You can't
grotesque
stop
liars
the
and
ad hominem.
murderers.
Okay, please, Rabbi, I'd like to ask you a question. I'd like to ask you a question, Rabbi.
I didn't get to answer.
Your neck
No, I didn't get to
bulging as
answer.
Your hatred
The
of
baboon
Jews
won't
is
let me
Okay.
talk. He even looks like one.
Rabbi Shmuley, please
look like
allow
a baboon.
Cenk. Please allow
You
Cenk to
believe
finish.
what I was listening to. I will never use an ad hominem attack against how he looks ever because I have dignity. I'm a human being. This man.
Please allow him to finish.
Day one.
Choose
He's
look
never
like
using
monkeys.
ad
It's a
hominem
hot
attack.
lobby, yes.
All the Israelis have is ad
This is
hominem
crazy.
attacks.
By the way,
Oh,
now
hey,
you
watch
know
us
why
starve
official
children to
debate,
death.
yeah.
You called me
Mangala,
something.
now
You said I'm starving children.
Special debate. The future of Gaza. This right here is why I just want us to get out of it. I want out. I want off this wild ride. Figure it out. That's exactly how I feel right there.
Country right. That's all this baboon has.
Now you know why he has no
Jesus.
issue with Mengele experimenting on Jews because for him Jews are apes.
I
to
hate
be
the
experimented
Nazis.
on laboratories.
I would have
He said
fought
that
like
I
hell
am
to
a
save
monkey,
Jews
I'm
from
a
the
baboon.
Holocaust.
You can
If you were a
experiment on
German,
me.
you would
I
have
look like-
cheerleaded
I
and said,
look like-
"No,
I look
if
like
they're
you."
lying about Hitler. That's what you
Jews
would have said if you were a
baboons.
German, because that's what
You
you're
have
saying
no
now in defending the
self-respect.
genocide
The fact
and
that
murder
you
of
have
Palestinian
any
children.
credibility.
Bro.
I'm not going to take your insults, your ad hominem
Then
ignorant.
get the
You
hell
won't
off
even answer a
there.
question
Then
that I
shut
raised.
up and
Well, you're
leave.
Allow Cenk to
Let
finish,
me go.
Rabbi.
Cut
Allow
my
Cenk.
facts.
Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? Holy shit, man. Bro turned red. Yeah. Look at this. At the beginning, let me see. Look. Where's it at? Jesus. I guess it's not, he's not even that much more red. He started red. But like, god damn, man. This is nuts.